Hello, good afternoon. My name is Fikiri, the Dark Feminine. Welcome. Blessings for stopping this way. And hazel praises to the one creator, the only creator. Goddess and God are one. And further to what I was explaining in my earlier video, the world used to look like African people. Some slight variations according to nations, some slight hair color, hair texture differences. Often enough, tightly curled like most, as most African people's hair is today. And that is how Cheddar Man, my word from the creator, from the spirit world, is that his name is Michael. He's King Michael of England. He's a Jagger, uh, the said royal family of England. And the reason he's dark is because most people were in the world until fairly recently, 1700s, 1800s, according to continent and area of continent, the world's population very much started to change. Northern India, starting Kialo, North Africa, Egypt and North Africa, most of the Middle East, uh, most of Asia. There's just a few people who remained Kialo, apart from most of Africa. The Australia, Torres Straits, Papua, all of Papua, Tasmania. They stayed largely black to light brown. Um, and when it comes to hair, people can get overly, actually confused due to lack of uh, uh, history being taught. If you think of most Sudanese people's hair is afro. Sometimes grows longer, sometimes is kept shorter. Even North Sudan people, their hair can look exactly the same as the people of South Sudan. Sometimes it's slightly less tightly curled. Sometimes it's straight, but often enough there's a curliness, definitely a curliness to most people of Sudan in their hair. And it's Somalia is the slightly different nation where the hair of the people is usually wavy, sometimes straight, still black people, but their hair is actually slightly different. Whereas in Ethiopia, next door, the hair of the people, unless they treat it, is still afro. Then there are the people. Tightly curled hair can sometimes grow long very quickly, very regularly. Sometimes it barely grows at all. And then there is the people, the San people of Southern Africa, famously hair. It can grow, but they tend to keep it short. But it does grow fairly uniquely, like curled dots. So that's three different hair types at least in modern Kyolo. And it, hair color, like the hair change, it can vary. And when we're reading history, we need to remember or know that the 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 world used language changes over time, and words like white, fair, blonde, golden, silver, red, hope I've missed any of the main ones out, can all mean pitch black. They can all mean a black person. Someone might describe me as a fairly yellow red or a red, a yellow brown or a red brown. Got some makeup on my face at the moment. My natural hue is relatively a yellow brown. And the creator and the heavenlies, really, they're the ones who decide on a person's apparel. So a person, the world used to be mostly black people, and sometimes when they describe people as white or fair or blonde, maybe there was some blonde in the hair, or maybe the hair was white, but that doesn't mean the hue of the rest of the person was white as we'd understand white today. And color is not a complete determinant of nationality, ethnicity, but the proof of your personal pudding as to who you are is your own national insurance number. All alphabets began in kahle, in the Nile Valley, the same as all languages did. And this alphabet that we call Latin also began in kahle Tutsi. And so it's actually a written scripts are all over kahle, actually. Symbols are writing. As to promote my own Pinterest, because there's information, the ideas I've presented there in my different sections, different boards. But because part of my calling, my ubizo, is to teach the world, because most of this knowledge used to be common knowledge. It used to be required teaching, required learning, and then humanity, somewhere between people wanting to restart those awful wars of 800s in England between humanity and Sauron, who's a real person who thought he'd destroy the planet in order to save himself. And then there was the fights between English people and the Danes, some of whom are actually English, but they weren't interested in England surviving. And it's just some people thought they'd restart all of that. And then came the Nazis, who just did all of that. They showed what all of that leads to. And there is no nice way to end humanity for an early Armageddon. It just means lots and lots of genocide around the world. But your national insurance number, RE, is the capital of kahle Tutsi, of to Egypt, Misra. That's the royal family are RE, and it ends with alpha, A for alpha. Kahle Su is UE. Kahle Wo, Ethiopia, Wole being the original, the old name of the Ethiopian royal family, it's RUE. In Somalia, it's it's UE. Tanzania follows the connections is the Tanzanian royal family. Kahle Ku is an original kingdom, unitary, and it's RUUE. Kenya is KE, and South Africa is ZE. Congo is CE. Judah is GE. And it's worth getting to know if you can, and I'll try and write them all down for anyone who's interested in knowing for sure which nation they personally belong to, especially for adopted people, because you can be given the runaround as to who your real parents are. Some have been shown the real parent, and really they're the secondary parent that the person's been brought to because of a family arrangement at the time, 50 years ago, or 60, 70 years ago, whatever. And it's national insurance numbers at least will tell you which family and which nation, even if you don't immediately know which person. It's why children born according to own through the spirit, the wife hasn't strayed, the husband hasn't strayed, but the children are not all theirs or only one of the parents, because as I said in earlier videos, and everybody, well, at least the religious world knows, God makes babies, the Creator makes babies, and sometimes he puts them in different families because it's safer, not to ruin people's lives and give people heartache, but to save lives. This world is fallen, and people can make awful decisions, and sometimes to keep the family have a chance at all, unbelievably, sometimes the safest thing is for your child to have been placed in another family. Even if there's war there, there's still a better chance than had they been born at home in comfort, because then your enemies and their enemies would have attacked you all harder. at least born into a difficult situation, later placed into a difficult situation, children's home, foster care. It's awful, but compared to what could have happened, and then sometimes within human beings being what they are, sometimes really bad, what should have been a safe haven became a nightmare. But we are a varied world, and the personal stories as to why a parent may have put their children up for adoption or got them fostered or left them with a brother, sister, cousin, aunt, uncle, nephew, niece, without explaining to the child. Sometimes they just don't know how to explain how they were conceived, because the world's wax clever decided there's no such thing as born through the spirit. So they fear being carted away to funny harm by the men in white coats if they should try to explain. So they keep quiet. So if you want people to explain, don't go down that route of mocking spiritual truths, because that could be how you got conceived and why no one's explained to you why your DNA and your national insurance number is different to your dad's. Sometimes, of course, somebody has strayed, one or both parents, but or they've got swapped in the hospital and only one or neither parent even knows. People can be really heartless and difficult, and sometimes they did that to save the child. It varies from person to person, and from child to child, actually. But knowing national insurance numbers, JE is England's said royal family. King George IV, by the way, is JE. So is his dad, and his dad, George the First, is JE. King William III is JE. Actually, it's a straight line down to King George IV and his square, who was actually a native South African lady of the Babatra tribe or dukedom, chief, fief, tribe, chiefdom. They usually mean kingdom, or they always mean kingdom or dukedom.